Hello and welcome to Bethan's Kitchen and Garden. Today I am going to plant out my winter brassicas and also tidy up some of my other brassicas and do a few more little jobs around the plot, and I'll show you what I'm doing as I go along. So let's go and have a look at where I'm going to put the brassicas and what I've got to plant, and I'll talk you through what I'm going to do. Here is the bed I'm going to put some of the brassicas in further along. I'm just showing you these because I'm also going to be taking off some of these outer leaves, just to sort of leave the heart of the cabbage there, because that's that will be better for the plant. It means that there's no bugs hiding underneath, no slugs and things. So I'll get on and do that when I take the covers off. And I've got this little patch up here where I'll be planting some, and here are the brassicas that I've grown from seed. So there's a mixture here. This variety is Durham Early. Then I got some Chinese kale there, some cabbage red acre there. These are greyhound cabbage there. Then I've got some Swedes there. There's not that many Swedes, but I'll plant what's there and give them a chance. Then these are all red kohlrabi, which will go in the bed over by the conservatory there. And then I've also got some cauliflowers here, and a couple of spare cabbages there. So we'll plant these in and around the garden, and I'll show you where I've planted them once I've planted it. I also want to get into the kale and sprout bed and just take off the lower leaves on them as well, and I'll probably plant some Swedes in there, I reckon, or some other brassicas in that little gap between the corn and the sprouts. So it's going to be a case of planting anything anywhere really, because I've still got quite a few crops in the ground, and I've probably got quite a few of those brassicas there that need to go into the ground. So I don't think it's going to be quite an orderly little cabbage patch, and you know, brassicas here, there. It's going to be brassicas here, there and everywhere. So I'm going to use some lime in the planting pocket for the brassicas, and I'm also going to put down some bloodfish and bone. I haven't got much compost at the moment to put like an inch or so of compost down. So I'll just have to use bloodfish and bone for the time being. So I'll get on and do that, and I'll show you where everything's gone once I've done it. Okay, so I've got a little bit done. I've taken the leaves off the lower parts of the cabbages, so hopefully that will give them a bit more airflow. And I have got 6 greyhound cabbages planted here. And then radish is interplanted between these 3 cabbages along here. The radish should grow pretty quick, so they should be gone by the time the cabbages really get going. And then these 3 cabbages here and those 3 there are red acre, so they're a red cabbage. And then I've got my Swedes in here. I had 7 Swedes in the end, so we'll see how they get on in here. I didn't get around to doing that one yet. That's my next job. I've still got a little bit of planting to do there. And then I put some of my other brassicas in these 2 beds here. So I've got the purple kohlrabi in this bed, and I've got Chinese kale in this bed. And if any of you have seen my previous vlogs, I did plant some potatoes in here hoping to get a second crop, but they weren't growing, so I've taken them out, and I've put them in these bags here, and they'll just go into my shed for the winter. and hopefully they'll start sprouting next year instead. So I took out the Charlotte and Cara, which were in this bed, and then the Maris Piper were in the bed around the front. So that was a job I'm glad to have got done, because nothing was happening there. And then on this bed over here, I've got 4 cauliflowers here, and then 6 golden acre cabbages there. So I have planted cabbages in the same place as I had them before, but I'm sure they'll be fine. It's no dig, so you can get away with not rotating crops as much. I've got some leftover brassicas in here. Some of the cauliflowers I will plant out soon, and the rest I'll just put wherever. But let's go and find something else to do for now. And the next job I found to do was to plant out the rest of the cauliflowers. So I've got 4 cauliflowers in here, and then I also took off the lower leaves on these brassicas, so we can see what's going on a bit better now. And some of these, especially this sprout plant here, has been absolutely eaten by something. Not quite sure what. Obviously a caterpillar, I would have thought. How a caterpillar got in here, I don't know, but it looks like a caterpillar to me. And I've checked underneath, but there's nothing under there, so I'm not quite sure what to say about that. But there do seem to be some sprouts growing, so that's good. There's hope for sprouts yet. And these ones in front, these are purple sprouting broccoli. So there's 2 purple sprouting broccoli, then there's 5 sprout plants, and the rest are kale. Now, the funny thing with the kale was, I better walk around rather than go across the bed. There seemed to be more than 1 stem on the kale, which I've never had before. There seemed to be, like, this was all off one plant. There's sort of like these load of stems really coming off them. And I left one on here just to show you what I'm talking about. So you see at the bottom there's another plant growing up, which I've never encountered that before on any of the brassicas. So yeah, that was a bit strange. But I'll get this all covered back over now, and we'll move on to something else. My next job on the list is to plant out these beetroot and spring onion. So I've top dressed this bed with some compost and some bloodfish and bone, and underneath was very, very dry, so hopefully we'll have some rain in the next few days and that will help the situation. I have given it all a water underneath before I put the top dressing of compost on, but I feel like we need a lot of water to get this bed going. And if I don't fit them all in this bed, I'll put what's left into that bed up there. So I'll get on and plant, and I'll show you what it's looking like when I'm done. Here is the bed all planted up. Hopefully my cat will stay off it tonight and not use it as a little tray, but who knows. So that's another job done, and some more seedlings planted. Let's move on to something else. The next job I decided to do was a small harvest. So these are from the greenhouse. These are all the assortment of tomatoes I've got growing in the greenhouse. And these are the Heinz tomatoes that are growing outside. They are a bush plant. And there's 2 cucumbers. These will probably be the last cucumbers we have for a while until the other plants come through. And then I thought I better harvest the sweet corn, because there was a lot of cobs on the first lot of corn, the corn that I've got just over there. So I harvested all the corn off there, so I need to take those plants out. And this is what we ended up with. So I was going to take all the corn off and freeze it on a tray and then put it in a bag to eat over the winter, or you know, whenever we got around to it. But I did exactly the same this year as I did last year, which was I left the sweet corn on too long and some of the kernels have dried out. So I've got 2 rows here. These will go to the chickens and these ones are edible, and they'll well, I'll take them in the kitchen and sort through them. Some of them are like that, not many are like this, but that means that this side of the cob didn't get pollinated, because each strand of the sweet corn needs to get pollinated for you to get full surface coverage of kernels, and obviously that didn't work on this one. So that's a shame, but never mind. There's still plenty of sweet corn for us to have in the immediate future. I have also got more sweet corn just down the bottom of the garden. So this is the other patch that I've got, which was planted about 3 weeks behind that one that I just showed you. So my next job will be to harvest all these before I leave these go over too long. These should be just right for harvesting now. So I will get on and harvest them, and I'll show you what I got when I'm finished. Before I harvest this sweet corn, I want to take this top layer off this bed here. I originally designed the bed to be just a bit higher so that the asparagus didn't block or didn't shadow out what was growing at the back, but I don't think that's needed anymore, so I might as well take the top layer off and just have one single layer bed. I think that will be easier, and I'll also have some onions here to harvest. So I'll get on and take this top layer off now, and I'll bring you back when I'm done. I've now taken the boards down. I've left those in place to put netting on, but I think at the moment I've got like little cloches I can put over them for the time being. But should I need netting, then I've got those little wooden pieces in place that I can just drape the netting over. And I have planted Marvel of 4 Seasons lettuce here, little gem lettuce here. The little gem goes on for quite a while, as I had quite a few of them. And then up here is spinach. I've multi-sown the spinach, so hopefully the leaves will grow little for baby spinach. And then at this top bit, I've got a little bit of pak choi, which again I've multi-sown, and hopefully we'll get some leaves off them. And then this side I've just got some kohlrabi, but the kohlrabi is so little, the leaves wise, that you could hardly spot it. There's one there, one there, one there. Oh, this is a fun game. Spot the kohlrabi. Right. Anyway, you get the idea. So that's been planted up now, which is great. While I'm around the front, I thought I'd update you on the strawberry plants, the runners that I potted up a couple of weeks ago, and this is only a couple of weeks ago. If I pick up the bottom, you can see the roots have well and truly come through. So I can now cut this plant off from the parent, and I'll remove these now into the greenhouse for overwintering. And then the plants, the sort of mother plants as it were, I can just uproot from here and keep in a big tub for overwintering too. So very happy with that progress. My next job I think I'm going to do is remove these melon plants that are here. I planted these cucumbers, I think in the last vlog it must have been, and they are growing well, but they are getting a bit of mildew there, and I think that mildew is from the melon plants. So in order to get some cucumbers from these, I've decided to take the melon plants out. I have got one melon here, which is actually, now I'm touching it, it's quite not soft, but I reckon that's probably ready. Got one tiny one in the corner here, so that's not going to do much more. And there's one growing up there, but I think I'm gonna have to cut my losses with that. And then back here behind this onion, I'll just move that a minute. I noticed I had one growing there, but I think it's a bit too little too late, because I better give priority to these cucumbers rather than keep those melons going. Another job I need to do today are to harvest these pears, because I think they are probably ready. And with pears, you usually harvest them before they're ready and they ripen at home. So that's why I'm going to give it a try anyway. Here is the greenhouse all tidied up, and I trimmed a few of the cucumber leaves as well. But I've left a couple that are quite mottled just because I didn't want to trim too many. There's a couple of the strawberry runners. There's some leftover seedlings that I haven't quite planted out yet. And here are the other strawberry runners. So that's that job all nicely done now. In the back garden now, and I've removed all the sweet corn that was here, and I've harvested it, and it's in the basket over here. So that's all the sweet corn now for this year, and it looks much better than the other one I showed you. Also got some tomatoes. Those ones are the Heinz variety grown outdoors. Then there's some small runner beans, some different size beetroots, my watermelon, the pears from the tree, a few aubergines. These are the little melons from the greenhouse, and this is the other big melon from the greenhouse. And then some green beans and some tomatoes from the greenhouse. Well, that's it from me for today. Thank you for joining me, and I hope you enjoyed watching what I got up to in the garden. I'm very pleased to have got that sweet corn, the second batch of sweet corn harvested, so at least we made use of some of the crops that I grew. And hopefully you'll join me on the next vlog I do. So thank you for watching, liking, subscribing and commenting if you have done so. I really do appreciate it. And all I can say about my work today is lovely job. Oh, and the weather's gone awfully cold now. Catch you next time, hopefully. Thank you. Bye bye.